Hi. So I was just thinking, I've been thinking about shame. I've been thinking about how much shame there is throughout the collective consciousness and how we can really heal and transmute our shame. Because shame is really such a slow vibrating emotion that keeps us stuck. It stops us from actually, or it can really hold us back from healing, from becoming our highest selves, our highest expressions in this life. And what I'm noticing so much is that there's so many posts on social media that are just shaming other people. And I just think it's really sad, right? And it's actually a reflection of how we feel about ourselves. When we need to shame other people, it's because we feel shame within our own bodies. It's because we cannot connect to our true selves, to our compassion. Everybody in this planet has experienced abuse to differing levels, and nobody really knows what abuse that person has faced. And if we continue to shame each other, then it stops us from uniting as a family, as humanity, and it doesn't give us space to heal. I think most humans on this planet right now that I see posting things that are shaming other people, I know that actually all they want is they want to be free. They want to live in a world where they feel safe, where they feel like there is no corruption, that we're working together. But rather than looking at themselves and healing themselves and working through their own shame and guilt and all of these things, they're projecting it onto others. And I'm just going to give some examples, right? And I'm not judging people for this, right? Because we all have done this at some times. And I think let's look back to 2020, because 2020, it's important for us to look at history, and that is still happening right now, right? We look at 2020 and we all know during that period that we were under huge psychological warfare. And many people, since being born, all people have been being programmed to obey and command, programmed with lots of fears. Our power has been given away since we are children. Just think about the fact that as children, you had to ask to go to the toilet, right? That might seem like it's nothing, it's insignificant, but it isn't nothing and it's not insignificant, because if you have to ask permission for you to do something that is natural for your own body, you're already learning that you do not have sovereignty over your body. You are not the authority over yourself. And that runs through all of our childhood, where we are taught to look outside of ourselves for permission, to experts, to authority. So when 2020 struck, there were so many subconscious programs that had already been programmed into people that it is easy for them to trigger such a response and create this division between humanity, which is what this really evil force does, right? It uses division, shame, guilt, all of these things. And actually, what it does, the clever thing is, it gets us to start shaming each other. And it knows as we are shaming each other, then we cannot grow, we cannot unite, and we cannot heal. So I see lots of like posts and stuff that are really just like, shaming people that did not know what was going on at the time, that were um 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 that what people would term as not being awake, right? People say you weren't awake and I was awake, and shaming those people for not being awake. But the truth is that, one, we don't know what path they have trod. We don't know what other things they have experienced that has traumatized them and has plugged them into that reality. But on another note is also, the higher truth is that period that happened, because some people weren't awake, it actually created contrast for others to wake up. And without that contrast, we may not have woken up ourselves, right? There has been so many events throughout our life. I was really activated in 2020. At beginning of 2020, I knew something was afoot, and I was activated instantly. However, there's been so many events in my lifetime that I've been absolutely unaware of, asleep to. It hasn't activated or woken me up. Did I do that because I was bad and I was wrong? No, I did it because it wasn't in my awareness. It hadn't pierced all of those subconscious programs and veils and programming that have been programmed into me since birth. So lots of people in 2020 were also at the position that we have been through many events. The credit crunch, the banking crisis, there's been so many 9/11 that's happened that there would have been people that were awake and activated, and we would have been the ones that were asleep. And how would it have felt for us if they just kept shaming us with their messages? It wouldn't have felt good, right? It would have felt like, well, we would have, because we already feel shame because we're programmed to feel shame about just breathing on this planet, right? So it would have plugged into all of those insecurities, all of those wounds, and it wouldn't have then had the effect that they wanted. It wouldn't have helped us to awaken and unite and be part of the light side, would it? No, it would have kept us, it would have created more resistance, anxiety, just lots of negative defensive feelings, right? So I guess why I'm doing this video is it's a hope, it's a prayer that the people that say they are awake, that are still shaming people who weren't awake during that time, then I would say you are not awake, right? You are still asleep because you don't know the bigger picture. And I would ask those people to reflect on themselves and ask why they need to shame another to feel safe in their environment, because it, even if that other person wakes up right now, and to be honest with you, people, souls are triggered to awaken when they are ready to awaken, and they're less likely to awaken if someone's trying to shame them. So if you really want to help humanity, if you really want to create a place of heaven on earth, of peace for yourself and for your family, then doing it through shame, it's just not going to work. You need to find ways to share the message in a loving and compassionate way with other people. And that is going to be what actually starts to trigger more people awake. Most people, I know people in that time that weren't awake, that were asleep, and I know that they are really good people and they're not bad. They just had lots of programs that stopped them from seeing, and I just felt grateful and blessed that I was being activated. It wasn't always like that, though. I'm going to be honest. There was times when I was also judging other people for not being in my consciousness. I was judging, and I had to look at myself and say, wow, I've got all this judgment. I didn't even realize I was a judgy person. I thought I was like, live and let live. And it showed me, it reflected to me all these judgments that I held inside of myself. And I had to go on this deep journey to heal those judgments. And it's still a journey that I'm on today. So but I really want to make this video because, I really pray for heaven on earth. And I know that people that are out there that are shaming other people about being asleep, they want the same deep down. I know they want the same as well. At least I think most people do. So I guess it's a prayer that we will all start looking at how we share things, how we communicate with each other, and looking for a way to communicate with each other, which has some compassion and some empathy, and create space for healing, and actually then focus on ourselves and healing ourselves. Because when we become that healed version of ourselves, which is a journey, right? We don't just heal overnight. It's a journey. We're delayering just like years and lifetimes of programming. But as we do that, we become more light, we become more authentic, we become more open, and that actually ripples out, and that has a massive impact on the reality. Whereas if we're just projecting it onto another and saying it's for another to wake up and change my reality for me, then we're basically a victim, right? We are a victim to external circumstances. We say, I don't have any internal power. I'm not sovereign over my own reality. And the definition of a victim is powerless, right? You are powerless to change your life, but that's not the truth. We're not powerless. We have to look into ourselves and start going on that inner journey. So I just wanted to share this message to say, like, let's all stop shaming each other. Let's not shame each other. We're all, we're all connected on this human path. One thing, there's ultimately, we're all souls. We're all spiritual beings having a human existence, and we are all connected through source. We all come from the one source energy. We're all brothers and sisters, and we've just forgotten that fact. And we're here to live this individual expression of source so that we may grow and expand as souls, and source may grow and expand as souls, but we're not separate from each other. So when we shame another, we're actually shaming ourselves. When we judge another, we're actually judging ourselves. It's like punching yourself in the face. So when we start to wake up and realize that, then it doesn't mean no that we have to put up with bad behavior from people who are asleep and don't realize we are all one. No, we don't have to participate in that, but we also don't have to shame them and judge them. We can take our energy away and realize it's up to us to change ourselves inside if we want to change our reality on the outside. So yes, I just wanted to put out that little quick video because, like I say, we are moving towards this heaven on earth timeline. We're going to get, and I'm going to release a video on that, but we're going to get to that heaven on earth timeline so much faster when we start to look really honestly at ourselves and how we behave, how we show up in our world, how we interact with other people. This society has created a real dehumanization of people so that we think it is acceptable to shame people just because the media does it all of the time. The media are sick. They are sick. They're sick. They're diseased. They've got diseased consciousness, right? It's absolutely sick, the stuff that they put out there. The TV is sick. It is sick. And it dehumanizes people. And then we start to think that it's just normal and it's okay to act that way. It's not normal. It's not okay, and it's for us to hold ourselves to those higher standards in order to be the change in the world. So yeah, so anyway, I hope that you join me in this mission.